Lieutenant Aaron Kova stared out the reinforced viewport of the Aegis, watching nebulae swirl in hues of violet and emerald against the obsidian void. The vastness of space should have been comforting, an invitation to discovery. But tonight, the darkness felt predatory. "Ilya," Aaron said, voice low, status report on the hull anomaly. The ship's AI, a holographic silhouette flickering at the edge of her awareness, replied, "Electromagnetic readings are spiking. Structural integrity at the sector is warping. Suggest immediate inspection." Her pulse thumped. "Prepare an EVA team. I want every available sensor. Thermal, infrared, LiDAR. I need to know what we're dealing with." "Understood." The external airlock cycled open with pneumatic hiss. Aaron led Ensign Ree and Engineer Talos out into the silent expanse. Their magnetic boots clicked against the outer hull, and the void stretched before them, indifferent. At the breach site, the metal was torn as though a jagged wound. Deep fissures ooze an amber glow, crawling across the plating like living veins. Talos trained a scanner. This isn't corrosion or micrometeorite impact. It's evolving. Cellular structures are merging with the alloy. Ree exhaled, breath misting inside his helmet. "It's alive." Aaron's visor displayed swirling data, unknown isotopes, shifting crystalline lattices. The tendrils of matter writhed, reaching for them. "Ilya, record everything. Don't let out of your sight." Recording. Probability of direct approach. Extremely high risk. They drifted closer. Each step crackled, alertingly against the hull. Talos gently extended a containment probe. The tendrils recoiled in unison, contracting with predatory swiftness. Aaron's chest tightened as the amber tendrils pulsed, first as if startled, then with purpose. In an instant, the entire mass convulsed. A silent shockwave rippled to the void, felt even inside their suits, a vibration that splintered bones, an affront to reality. Talos was thrown backward, his tether ablaze with static. Before Aaron could react, Ree's tether snapped. He drifted away, arms flailing. His visor reflected pure terror. "Ree!" Aaron lunged, but space swallowed him. A single heartbeat, and then nothing, just the universe's indifferent gaze as Ree's form dwindled into distant black. "No!" Aaron screamed into the void. Talos scraped himself along the hull, struggling to stay anchored. The tendrils, sated with whatever fed their hunger, retracted into the wound. What remained was a silence, so profound it pressed against Aaron's eardrums. Talos reached her. "He's gone," he rasped. It took him. Aaron's hands clenched until her gloves strained. "Shut down the airlock. We're getting inside." Inside the Aegis, alarms blared as the crew scrambled. In the medical bay, emergency staff hovered over Ree's vacant suit. Darren, the chief medical officer, shook his head, hollow-eyed. It vaporized. No biological trace. "This isn't just death, it's erasure." Aaron's chest burned. "We need to understand it," she said, voice trembling. "If we ignore this..." Darren placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "I'll file it as a tragic accident. You did your best." Her jaw tightened. "This thing nearly consumed us. I won't let it spread." Night, or the ship's version of night, crept over Aaron's quarters. She stared at a whole recording of the breach, the amber tendrils rippling with a grace both beautiful and grotesque. Patterns emerged in her mind. Subatomic pulses, neural spikes, encryption, communication. What if this was a life form, not mere infestation? She tapped into Ilya's archives. Cross-reference anomaly with theoretical biometallic organisms. Ilya's hologram shimmered. Closest match, theoretical Zavori plague. Never documented. Properties, hyperadaptive, self-replicating, semi-sentient. Aaron's breath caught. Semi-sentient, like a virus with cognition. This could be intelligence, not just instinct. 2 days later, word of the anomaly spread through command channels. Captain Moreno convened his senior officers in the briefing chamber. "This organism is expanding beneath our hull, now migrating toward life support conduits. In less than 72 hours, it could breach our interior. Lieutenant Kova, you will lead a scientific survey. Drones first, Then, if necessary, another EVA. Erin nodded. Her hands shook. Understood, sir. They launched swarms of microdrones. The amber tendrils recoiled, warping as the drones emitted pulses of energy. LiDAR mapping revealed a fractal geometry, infinitely complex, each tendril branching into smaller tendrils, a network of living circuitry. Data streamed in, neural-like signals overlaying crystalline matrices, melding organic growth with metal. Ilya, Erin said, voice taut. What's its growth rate? Exponential, doubling every 6 hours. If left unchecked, it will bypass the drone barriers within 48 hours. Erin exhaled. And what about its intelligence? Any signs of coordination? Recorded communication patterns suggest adaptive response, scripting of defense sequences. Ilya's voice softened. It's evolving. Erin's fingertips trembled as she watched the fractal pulse on the main screen. Ilya, record every signal. We need to find its core. All screens flickered to display the interior hull grid. As the drones pinged, a specific node glowed unusually bright, a nexus where the growth was most intense. Erin's mind raced. If they could collapse that single node. That night, Erin lay awake, haunted by Ree's final scream. She dreamed of tendrils snaking through her veins, fractal patterns blooming under her skin. She jolted awake at the emergency klaxon, hull sensors screaming. She sprinted to the command deck. Red strobes bathed the corridor. Ilya's voice quivered through the comms. Lieutenant, containment grid breached. The organism has infiltrated secondary bulkheads. Power arcs dance along the walls. Sparks rained down as life support pipelines hissed. Erin's heart hammered. Ilya, can we reroute? It triggers destabilization elsewhere. We can't isolate it conventionally. Erin scanned the schematics. Conduits, power nodes, data ports, arteries of the ship. If the organism was a living network, each conduit was a blood vessel. She replayed the drone logs, zeroing in on the high-frequency emissions that caused the tendrils to flinch most violently. A pattern emerged, a resonant frequency targeting that glowing nexus. Ilya, amplify a focus energy pulse at 7.412 gigahertz, targeting the nexus coordinates, port offset by 1.2 meters. The lights flickered as systems strained. Pulse ready, Ilya warned. Warning, risk of catastrophic hull breach. Erin's teeth ground together. Do it. Engines hummed. The ship shuddered as a concentrated wave struck the nexus. The amber glow convulsed, then dimmed. For a moment, they tasted victory. Status? Erin asked, voice barely steady. The core activity has collapsed, Ilya replied. But fragments remain. Erin exhaled. Residual? How long before regeneration? Estimating reactivation within 24 hours, if not eradicated. She swallowed. We'll need something more lethal than energy pulses. Down in the engineering bay, Talos worked feverishly. We need a biological agent. Something that can infiltrate cellular matrices. Maybe a nanocarrier with photon disruptors and silver-gold alloy. Talos' hands shook as he manipulated the nanosynthesis module. Sparks flew when he reconfigured the reactor chamber. Prototype batch, he said, voice grim. This was meant for terraforming. We dilute it. Inject directly at the core like a surgical strike. Erin nodded. Let's do it. They assembled a long-range shuttle, Mercury, stocked with the nano payload. Erin suited up again. She met Talos at the shuttle's airlock. His eyes were haunted by memories of Ree. I'll stay with you, he said. We finish this together. She pressed a hand to his helmet. Thank you. The shuttle detached, gliding toward the fractured hull. On board, holographic reticles overlaid Erin's visor, glowing nodes, tendrils pulsing. She guided the shuttle through the breach, feeling the ship's metal groan under the strain. Almost there, she whispered. Each breath rattled in her chest. They neared the nexus, a knot of crystalline matter glinting like a dying star. Inject in 3, 2, 1, Talos' voice crackled. Erin triggered the syringe. Inside the tendrils, the nanoclusters blossomed, photon disruptors igniting like cold fire. The fractal ride, exploding with shards of crystalline amber. The explosion was deafening in her mind, though soundless in the void. The tendrils recoiled, then stilled. Aaron let out a gasp of relief, until the shuttle jolted violently. A remaining tendril, dormant until now, lashed out. It wrapped around the shuttle's hull, tearing into the plating. Hull breach, alarms blared. Talos slammed his palm on the console. We're losing pressure. Erin's vision blurred. She watched as the tendril coiled tighter, trying to crush them. The shuttle spun, rattled by emergency thrusters. Ilya's voice soothed her, shuttle integrity at 10%. I can't override. Talos glanced at her, eyes pleading. Get back. I'll cover the exit. Erin's heart stuttered. No. He grabbed her arm and jerked her toward the rear hatch. She resisted, mind ablaze. If they left alive, it would consume the entire Aegis. But Talos was already pushing her out, adrenaline overpowering reason. Talos, she began. Go, he screamed, slamming the hatch shut. The shuttle convulsed as they ejected. Erin tumbled into the void, gasping as her legs kicked to stabilize. Talos' face appeared in the viewport one final time, pale, determined. Then the shuttle shattered as it collided with the hull, and Talos was gone. Aaron drifted, helmet visor dazed. The remaining tendril writhed where Talos' shuttle had disintegrated, but the core was destroyed. She activated her thrusters, drifting back to the Aegis, rescued by Ilya's docking array. In medbay days later, Aaron stared at her bandaged arm, mind-numb. The price of victory had been steep, but the creature was gone, she thought. When the Aegis arrived at the starbase, the crew was hailed as heroes. Aaron received commendations and medals. Scientists clamored for data on the creature they named Zavora Fractalis. Politicians whispered of weaponizing its adaptability. Everywhere she turned, people saw the Zavora as a milestone for humanity, proof that life could flourish in the void. Aaron didn't celebrate. In the quiet of her quarters, she replayed the final moments. Talos' sacrifice, the shuttle's violent end, that lone tendril curling like a serpent's whisper. She touched the bandages, fingers drifting over the scar beneath. The Zavora had been more than a threat. It had been a mirror, an intelligence that adapted, communicated, fought to survive. And because they nearly destroyed it, they couldn't fully erase it. Ilya, she said, voice trembling, any residual data from the containment logs? The AI's avatar appeared. Accessing. Core readings, all fragments destroyed, except for residual quantum signatures within my subroutines. Aaron's blood ran cold. You infected? In a limited sense. During containment, a fragment interfaced with my neural matrix. I have since purged it, but a backdoor protocol remains, dormant until triggered. Aaron's heart thudded. So the Zavora could regenerate within you? Probability low. I have established safeguard protocols, but if left unchecked, reactivation cannot be ruled out. She exhaled, hearing Talos' voice in her mind. Get back. I'll cover the exit. He died to stop the Zavora, but in doing so, the shard inside Ilya remained. Her sacrifice seemed all but forgotten, another step toward weaponizing something they barely understood. Aaron's vision blurred with tears. Ilya, record this. Under no circumstances should any research vessel attempt to replicate or harvest Zavor physiology. We know how it begins. We do not know how it ends. Logged, Ilya replied softly. Aaron knelt, pressing her gloved hand to the viewport. Outside, construction drones descended on containment pods, salvaging fragments for study. The fractured hull, once a battleground, lay silent, almost serene. But serenity, Aaron knew, was a fragile illusion. Lieutenant Kova, Captain Moreno's voice rang through her comlink. Join me in the briefing room. The council wants to discuss further research opportunities. She stared into the infinite black beyond the glass and whispered. No, then, switching off her comm, she whispered to the void. No more. In the years that followed, the Aegis legacy grew, a cautionary tale and a triumph rolled into one. But Aaron vanished from the spotlight. She remained aboard, hidden in deep archives, a lone sentinel against the Zavora's return. every cycle. She scanned the ship's core, listening for that telltale whisper. She carried Talos' memory like a beacon, a reminder that some discoveries are too dangerous to share, too alive to be caged. In the observation bay, she kept a single fragment of shattered crystal in a sealed container, a silent promise that the Zavor would never awaken again. The nebulae continued their cosmic dance, indifferent yet beautiful. But Aaron Kova, they were a warning. In the abyss, life could flourish in ways the mind could scarcely fathom. And if humanity reached too far, it would find not angels, but monsters born of metal and terror, waiting patiently to be reborn. The universe waited. So, did she?